Adam, thank you for joining us. I'm sure you've seen the latest by Donald Trump.
Yeah, no, I'm actually really disturbed at the first two gentlemen and what they said, because they're missing really what is the actual point of this. And the fact is that there's a growing amount of Catholic anti-Semitism resurging that is affecting the political discourse in the United States and has basically become normalized. And the faces of the new woke Reich are all proud Catholics. At the same time, the President of the United States has Jewish grandchildren, and the Catholic Church has yet to condemn any of these people, and many representatives of the Catholic Church have come out condemning the war with Iran, saying that it's an unjust war, when Iran not only endangers a significant amount of Americans in the entire Western world, but also the Jewish state, and has had multiple attempts to assassinate the President of the United States before, while he was running for president for the second time. I think it's absolutely insane that we're worried about, I think you said, disrespecting religious communities, except for the fact that apparently the rules don't apply to Jews. And that's what's becoming normalized in America.
Suhail is responding to what you just said.
Running the world. Is the world only answerable to Jews? I'm sorry, Mr. Adam Scott Bellows. You are not the harbinger or the great reconciler of the human faith. This man is attacking every religion. No one is denying the rights of the Jews to the state of Israel. But listen, do not condone this man's actions, because he's sucking up to Netanyahu, who is a war criminal. Nothing more. In my mind, Benjamin Netanyahu is a war criminal.
No, I understand, world leaders can have political differences, but why go after the Pope? And what's worse is that he is now projecting himself as Jesus. Tushar?
This is the God syndrome Donald Trump has. I do not care if he declares himself the reincarnation of Jesus Christ, James Bond, or Joseph Stalin. That's something between him and his conservative voters, be they from Texas or Georgia. That's his business entirely. But Trump's God syndrome is now endangering the global economy. He got into this war thinking that he will be able to eliminate Iran's nuclear program. More than a month later, Iran's nuclear program is still there. The regime is still there. Hormuz is now blocked. The global energy supply is choked. So what has Trump really achieved apart from theatrics? He wakes up every day and makes a post on Truth Social, and that is supposed to be how the world is going to function, the markets are going to function. What sort of God syndrome is this? What Trump did by making that image public on his social media account is just to verify, is affirm the God syndrome that he's suffering from, and now the entire world economy is suffering from. Just now, Pranesh, an hour back, an update came that he will order his military to eliminate any ships that pass through the blockade in the Hormuz. What kind of deranged behavior is this? Does he really have a plan? The American president, I'm shocked that we have to ask this question, but does the American president have a plan to get out of a war he started? Because it appears he doesn't have a plan, and to distract the voters, to distract the global leaders from what Pandora's box he's opened up, he makes such frivolous posts on social media. This is not acceptable.
Sierra Claire is with us. Miss Claire, Donald Trump is Jesus Christ. What's going on?
President Trump is pointing out some issues within the Catholic Church where they have waded into politics, sometimes. But I personally, I don't think it's important for him to do that. I don't know why he comments on that. But the real question here is, the reason he was speaking to the Catholic Church is because they're talking about that this blockade on
I understand the conversation with the Catholic Church or with the Pope, but have a civilized conversation. The Pope understands English. Why bring in Jesus Christ?
Well, President Trump is talking about the fact that people have made illegitimate claims about the legality of what's going on here. And it is legal what he's doing to respond to the Iranian regime's aggression. I've discussed before that there are mechanisms under international law.
Miss Claire, I don't think you're understanding what I'm trying to ask you. Why bring in Jesus Christ? For the love of Lord, why, do this?
Well, President Trump, he sometimes feels the need to respond to these different people who make
Okay.
criticisms about him. Like I said, personally, I
Mr.
don't think
Owens-
it's really important for him to comment.
Miss Claire says this is a conversation with the Catholic community.
Yeah, it's just so unfortunate. Again, this is nothing more than a distraction at a time when we're at war. We're actively engaged in conflict throughout on a global level. And this is a time where, again, our countries, our allies, we need steady, disciplined leadership that's grounded in clarity and purpose. This, again, is our commander-in-chief. This is commander-in-chief of the United States of America. And you should have discipline to show leadership and purpose around this. Right now, I'm concerned about the stability and the resolve that this shows from our commander-in-chief. Anything that introduces more confusion, more conflict, more noise, more mixed messaging confuses us on what this mission is and what it really carries the consequences for what we all can feel about this.
Okay, quick word from Tushar. Suhail, you'll have the last word.
Can the commander-in-chief answer three simple questions? What was the objective of this war? What is going to be the scale of operation? And most importantly, what is US's exit strategy of this war? Because if he can't answer these three questions, I'm sorry, we have a wrecked global economy ahead of us in the next 4 weeks.
Trump is answerable to none, not even God. Suhail.
Let me tell you, you are dealing with an absolute scoundrel of a human being who's degenerate, deranged, and despicable. This man should be in prison, but he's in office. The problem, Pranesh, is no one can do anything because the so-called liberals and the so-called woke jokers think, he's our president, we must support him. This man has done everything illegally. Sierra Claire says, he's done legal things. What is legal? What is legal? What legal thing did Benjamin Netanyahu do? Another war criminal. These people are using war as a distraction to save their own skin. That is what it is. And I will say one more point to Adam Scott Bellows. This world does not owe its entire life to the Israelis. There's a world beyond Israel.
That's okay.
You have your
Israelis
issue.
have a right to Israelis have a right to their self-defense, and it all started after what Hamas did to the music festival. This is not about Israel at all. This is about Donald Trump. And let's, Suhail, I agree with you most of the time. I don't think we should fall for this propaganda that Netanyahu is war criminal. Look, the man is doing this for his country. No, that's okay. I understand emotions are running high here, but let's have a responsible commentary going on. We've run out of time completely.